Hello and welcome to Kabbalistic Astrology, the weekly forecast. This is Matt Taylor and my name is Nicole Ercolani, and we speak about the weekly astrological updates and forecasts for this week, and including the energies, like more on a spiritual level and on a frequency level. We give you tools and we get yourself so you get up to date in order to serve the consciousness amongst the world's changing tides. Hi, Matt, how are you this week?
I'm well. How are you today?
I am very good, thank you.
You're going on a holiday, so that's
yeah,
very nice.
It's not a holiday, actually. I will work the same like I do here, but it's just like the change of scenery, which I'm really looking forward to.
You're going to be more of a digital nomad.
I will be, and it's the first time. Like I really wanted always to be a digital nomad, so it's like now I'm trying it out for the first time.
You're dipping your toe in the water.
Yes, I do. Change is change.
Change is for a Taurian. That's very good, no?
Very much so.
I'm very impressed. Well done.
Oh, thank you.
Going out of your comfort zone. Very good. Very good. Well, let's start. We are in the lunar cycle of Libra. Libra is the first month of the solar year and the 7th month of the astrological year. So we're over the halfway mark. That is very good. The number of 7 is, I think I explained last week, is very important Kabbalistically and in the foundation of the creation of this world, because 7 is the basis of everything. If you look at frequency and energy, there's 7 music notes, there's 7 colors in the rainbow, there's 7 continents, 7 seas, 7 days of the week. The furthest planet we can see is Saturn. It has 7 rings around it. It's the 7th planet, and so on and so on and so on, right? So this number 7 is super important when it comes to manifestation or things that are related to the physical world. So we have a couple of high connections in this month. So these portals that open for our soul to do work. One is the karmic reset, where the soul shifts into its new karmic year. And also we have this day, which is on the 8th day of Libra, called Yom Kippur. And this is a day when there's only light. There's no, in this 24-hour period, there's no negativity. So we are able in the month of Libra to really connect into the highest point. Now, there's 10 energy funnels that come down. The top 3 are too high, but in this energy portal of Yom Kippur, our soul can access the 7th one up, which is as high as we can go when we're in the physical body. So all of this number 7 is very connected, all right? So just to explain a little bit more about the importance of Libra, because of this kind of feeling of bridge, like it's ruled by the balance, it's ruled by scales. And so in this month, it's a month what we call of judgment, but not really like hellfire and brimstone and, not like this kind of judgment, no. We're not, nothing's coming to destroy us, but really it's something very different. It's something more to do with the scales, that we are in a month of judgment. And as I said, our soul is starting a new year. In other words, it's not judgment as in you've been a bad person and you're terrible and now you've got to suffer and this feel, right? It's really about like, what does your next year look like based on your previous, work, your previous spiritual work. And then it's more of an accountancy or a tally up of where you're at. It's like, you just get an assessment more than a judgment, more than that heavy judgment feel. The judgment is more of an assessment. So here, these scales that rule Libra in the sky it's the only sign that has an inanimate object ruling it. Now, all the other things are humans and animals and stuff, right? So this is the only one with an object ruling it. And the whole idea is that we objectify, right? We are taking a non-objective look at our next year. Does this make sense? Yes. So so we're being weighed up. We're being weighed up by scales, by an objective view of us. So we are very subjective of ourselves. The things that we think we're good at, we're not. The things we don't think we're good at, we are. right? That's basic human nature, right? Whenever we say, oh, we're not very good at that, everyone goes, oh, you're amazing at that. I really like you for that. I say, when you think you're good at it, people go, he's always very like this, or she's always very like that. And we think we're not like that. So even from the first step of looking at ourselves, we really get it very, very wrong, no? So this objective view is that something else is looking at us, at our soul or at our journey, and giving us an assessment of how the next year will go. It's an objective view. Now, if we bring this down into the month, how am I going to feel this month? It's ruled by the planet Venus. So we bear these two things in mind, the planet Venus and the fact that it's ruled by scales. The other sign that's ruled by Venus is Taurus. So let's have a little look about what makes these two signs very similar. So here in the Kabbalistic book of astrology written by a Kabbalist, he says something very interesting. He says the energy intelligence of Venus can be so overwhelmingly bright that it blurs distinctions between good and bad. For Taurians, this brightness often results in their assuming that all is well with the world and that negativity and darkness don't exist at all. And they cut themselves off from the world's problems. I call it like a denial, right? You just don't see it. People who have a lot of Taurus in their chart or are Taurian, they don't want to confront, they don't want to see. So they kind of just shield it out. They just want to see everything as light, yes? So for Librans, on the other hand, the light of Venus seems to make all things equal, which goes back to the scales, yeah, the balance. And this often leads to uncertainty and indecisiveness, which is what Librans are known for, right? Not being able to make a choice, yeah? So making decisions or judgments presents difficulty for both Taurians and Librans. For Taurians, it is the case of won't, and they don't want to make a judgment. And for Librans, however, it is a case of can't. They seem unable to decide between two equally weighted sides. So Venus is the light bearer. It's such a light bearer. It really brings in all the things we love about this world: healthy relationships, great finances, good health, and a balanced life. This is what Venus all rules over. So however we treat our partner is the same way we treat our money. It's the same way we treat our physical body. And it's the same approach we have to balancing out our day. All of these things are not separated, right? Venus is ruling over all of them, which always makes it very interesting for me, because people separate those four things out, right? They're like, oh, this is going well, this is not going so well, this is great, this is not great. And they separate those four quarters, the four major quarters of their world, into four separate parts. But actually, they're all one. Yeah, they're all the same thing. However, whatever our approach is to that is our approach to nearly all of the good things in our life. So this means that when we're in the energy of Venus, we see all things as good. And for the Libran, because all things are good, I can't choose which one to do, right? Because I feel like the whole pizza is good. And if I make a choice of which slice I'm taking, I'm separating things out. They're not unified anymore. They're not one anymore. This one must be bad if I'm taking the good thing. And this is how they feel when they make a decision and a choice, right? In their consciousness. The reason that they're indecisive is not because things are bad. It's because they see everything as good and they can't make a judgment. Because we're in the month of judgment. So it flips that, not judging people, but also can't make a choice. So here we learn, it's the same any sign, that their strengths are also their weaknesses, So this is the part that we in. Libra is a beautiful month of unification, of oneness, of feeling good with people, feeling good in our relationships, but also not able to decide which relationships are not good for us, which things are not good for me. Being a Libran, it's air sign, so we just talk. We talk endlessly about it and never make an action. This is the point of Libra. This is the month to make actions and choices and make clarity about things, which things you have to make a judgment, right? And this is very difficult in this energy because everything feels so good, which is great, but we still need to make clear choices in this sign. So this is why we'll be very indecisive. We'll throw backwards and forwards, things that we're very strong at. We'll be rethinking again, things that we thought we were going to go in a direction. Now we're not so sure. And so this is the feeling that's already come through. if we look at the world news, actually today, we saw for the last week, you know, that in the UK, they've been very strong on this new approach to their economy. It collapsed, you know, the pound, the bank had to bail it out, the markets went wild. And even through all that pressure, they didn't change their mind. And then today they've changed their mind because they wouldn't be able to, their own politicians weren't going to vote it through parliament. Very interesting, no? That's the pressure that they seem to follow the most. Well, very interesting. So even like, I think if we break it down and we look at a theme, all the things that we thought we could get through, all the things we could break through, all the things that are strong, we're now reflecting on. We're now like looking at a judgment time.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. Today I've spent my time with my godson, and he brought up a really sweet topic. We're in the forest and we came back from the forest, and it always takes a little bit of time until he like really opens up. But then he opened up and he said, like, you know, he's 6, by the way. And he said, you know, Gotti, which is I'm his godmother in Swiss German. The shorter version of that is Gotti. And he said, Gotti, you know, I have this friend, and he says, one country is the worst country in the world. It's coming from this Panini thing for the World Cup in football, in soccer. And he says, is that true? Is it the worst country in the world? And I said, well, no, it's not right to judge like that. It's not right to judge anything like that. And I taught him, and I was like, look, Jeremy, whenever a person says something is the worst, or this religion is the baddest, or these people with the color of skin are not nice, or whatever, whenever a person is judging a full group of people without any details, without anything, just like one big judgment, then you can know that this person is probably not very intelligent yet, and this person is also hurt. And then he looked at me and he said, like, why do you think my friend is hurt? And I said, well, you know, whenever someone judges like 20 people, like imagine you go to school and you have the other class in school, and they would say your whole class is stupid. Wouldn't that hurt your heart? And he said, yes, that would hurt me. That wouldn't feel good. And I said, see, it's the same. And so I think like this is what I experienced today when it comes to judgment. Like for me, if you decide for yourself for any decisions that you want to make, or if you like, we're very fast to judge on the outside, very fast. We humans have the tendency to judge others like just by a blink of an eye, like judge the book by its cover, basically. And this is my teaching, I think, for the week is like, how discerning are you in your judgment? How much discernment can you handle in your aura? How much discernment can you bring up in your energy? You know, because in order to be more in details, in order to be more clear, in order to have more clarity and discernment, you need to have energy. You need to have enough energy to analyze the data and to be like more in detail, basically. And I think
I agree, because that's what gives you your ability to stand back and just objectify.
To objectify and to come into this Libran energy to say, okay, wait a second, but what are we talking about? Is it this or this? Is it really balanced or is it not? Is it? And in yoga, in Kundalini yoga, we say it's the positive mind and the negative mind, but where you want to be in your consciousness is the neutral mind. So this Libra that we see as the object is really interesting with the positive mind and the negative mind, but then in the center there is this neutrality, and the neutrality goes way higher than the two scales, right? So I think this is the thing for this week. In order to, you need to be able to step back and to go beyond positive and negative. And therefore you need a certain type of intelligence, and this type of intelligence is also an energetic requirement for you. You need enough energy in order to not be stupid. Yeah.
I agree. I love this point about the scales being the left and the right, and then you've got this center where
Yes,
Kabbalistically of a left column, a right column, and a
very
central
much
column.
so.
Yeah, and it's this central point we want to be in, right, in order to make great judgments, assessments of
Yes.
what's going on.
And
It's
what,
interesting what you say about how negative or judgments from negative places are based in emotion. You said something like this. It's
yeah.
interesting because Libra rules over the kidneys, which is we have two of them, no, a left one and a right one, and that's why it connects in there, which is where we hold most of our emotions. So that is the negative place at which we hold judgment. All of the judgments that we have that are very superficial, which Librans can be because it's objective, right?
Very much
It might
so.
not look very deep at something. That's their negative judgment mind. It's coming from your kidneys where you hold your emotions, your reactive system, all your pains, particularly anger, down in the kidneys. So yeah, it's very connected in. But this being able to come out of our reactive emotions and into something more central and objective and balanced connects us back into the greater mind.
Mm-hmm. And it's really interesting what you taught me, that the central column is rose gold. Like, and what I feel with myself is, at the moment I wear a lot of malas with rose gold beads within, like to really like support my physical body in this central column space. And I taught last Saturday, I taught yoga class, and it's also very interesting. It was, the kriya was to release fear and anger, because whenever you hold a lot of fear and anger, what it does to you, it doesn't allow you to be in abundance and in prosperity, because abundance and prosperity reflect joy. And whenever you hold fear, fear is like the fear hormone eat joy hormone. But what we don't know is that the happy hormones are way stronger. So when you're in fear and you're able to fake smile for a minute like this, what you do is you activate your vagus nerve, and then your brain starts to get out the happy hormones, and happy hormones always eat fear hormones. So it's a really good, like, the whole thing is put together. And in this kriya against fear and anger, there's a lot of kidney and liver exercises to really release this held energy. Very interesting.
That's amazing, no? It's very interesting. So let's look at the moon a little bit more. We're in the lunar cycle of Libra, but where is the moon in the cycle? The moon is in Sagittarius, which is kind of the opposite to everything we've just talked about. Sagittarius is a real energy that is direct. Let's go get them. Let's be excited, optimistic. We have a way to go. We have a journey. We have an adventure. So it's a very adventurous, journey-filled week, because the moon is rooted in Sagittarius, but the Sagittarians are always optimistic, which ties into your happiness. They're always with the best outcome. This is always going to go in the right way. This is going to be, very certain about themselves. They have a lot of certainty. They have a lot of joy, happiness. So this is a feeling within us of something more clear, more direct, more confident in itself. So this is a very interesting week where we can tap the energy that will give us clear directions from a place of happiness, from a place of joy, which is really nice what you just said, because it's totally reflected in the chart this week, that once we tap into this kind of certainty in ourselves, which Librans don't have, they're pleasers. Librans are great pleasers. They're great because they're so uncertain. They just want to do whatever is, the nice thing to do. Yes, right. So this one takes you either the choice of being uncertain, indecisive, and sort of choosing from fears, and I'll just go along with whatever everybody says, not to be uncomfortable, into Sagittarius energy, really being able, on the other hand, to get a certainty to go out in my own directions to go. So this is the choices that we really have this week. Just to go into the moon a little bit more, because it's a little bit awkward this week. The moon has a lot of negative aspects. The moon can also represent the people, right? The people of a country, or the country itself, or your home or your mother. So in the bigger picture, it represents, like in the mundane astrology, these four things of nation, people, home, and mother. And so here there's a few squares with Mercury, Mars, and Neptune. So it's the square is where we need to take action. So here this week, especially with the moon in Sagittarius, we are in a good position to take actions on the things that we choose. So it's the realities are very different. The negativity of Sagittarius is to avoid responsibility. They just want they both, the things that these two signs have in common is they just want all things to be happy and nice and pleasant and good.
That's
right?
so true.
Right? Which is great, but also you're avoiding things when you do it, right? You're avoiding responsibility, or you're avoiding standing out, or you're avoiding being different, and all of those sorts of things. So there's a little bit of a match between the two. So really what we need to do is make clear decisions for ourselves. This is really what we need to tap into in this month, whether we're operating as a country, whether operating as in the home level, or as we're operating ourselves in the way we nurture ourselves, in the way we care for ourselves. But ultimately we have to make a decision, take responsibility, I'd say, would be the energy that is missing here, that we need to push on. If moon is squaring Mars and Neptune and Mercury, it means I'm not taking any action or not taking any voice, to go in the directions that I want to go, and I don't see them clearly. So here we really need to work on digging deep into, what do I want to speak to, what do I want to act to, what do I really want to choose for myself in this reality, to go above the nature of the planets, to get out of this a feeling of not being able to choose or go, or not feeling so great, or it all seems too hard. To get out of that, we must make some clear action and choices this week.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of miracles in the chart when we do that, when we go into the nature. Yes.
It's really interesting. This week we have in Kundalini Yoga, we also have some very interesting energies within this week. And so what we do is we meditate more during this time. We really we sit down more, we meditate more, we have more yoga in order to bring the physical body more in alignment with what's going on. And it's also really interesting because, from a yogic point of view, the first 9 days after the new moon are in a female energy, and then the next 19 days approximately are masculine energy. And the shift is also going on this week. What I think is really interesting, because I personally I tend to function within the moon, because probably also because I'm a woman. A female body has 11 moon center and a masculine body has 1. It's like we're so much more connected to the moon because of the moon centers, and because we have another job to do as a born female. You just have another job to fulfill on planet Earth. So you need these accesses, and
it rules the mother as well, which
it
doesn't mean
the mother.
the nurturing, the caring,
yes,
the sensitivities, the intuition.
Yeah. And I think these moon centers, what's really interesting in the yogic science is, when you have these 11 moon centers, every 2.5 days, a woman's moon center changes. So, and I think for many women, when people say, "Oh yeah, woman is get," you never know what you get. She's so moody, or she's so whatever. Yeah, she might be, because her moon centers change. And the difference between the moon centers on your cheeks, or on your hairline, or on your earlobe, or on your thighs, or on your vagina, or on your breasts, it's just a completely different energy field that you're in as a woman. And I think that's so interesting. And when your body starts to align with the moon, as a woman, with the period and everything, that's really when creation starts to work through you. And I think that's a super, super interesting thing. And with the change of these first 9 days into this, like into the masculine energy, what it means is like you can download a lot of things in the first 9 days after the new moon to really create, to nurture, and then like hold the field to like let it grow.
Beautiful. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, there we have it for the week. I don't have anything else to add. Just a small point about Venus being in opposition to Jupiter, which is more of the same. Jupiter is giving us a sense of, it rules Sagittarius and Venus rules Libra. So it's giving us this choices between, do we expand, do we grow, do we go out in our own direction, do we get clarity and really own that? Or are we lost in the kind of everything is good and everything is wonderful, I don't know what to do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is the choice of all this week, no?
Yes,
like,
choice to choose.
Do you want to grow or you don't?
Yes.
And if you want to grow, you need to make a decision. And you need to take some inspired action towards that.
I love that.
Oh, lovely.
Very nice.
Right. Thank you guys for listening. I hope you liked our podcast this week, and we are back next week, and we wish you a wonderful start. Bye.
Yes, have a great week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.